Listen, Brandon here. So glad to see you again. I hope you are watching. I'm here today to encourage you, to ask you to go to YouTube, like our page, subscribe, because one of the reasons we were down, that we didn't put out any podcasts towards the end of last year, is because we were busy working. We were busy working on our new space that I'm sitting in, I'm so proud of. And the only way you can see it is if you go to YouTube. So make sure you go to our YouTube page. It's Dearwhiteteacher. Like it, subscribe to it, because I know many of you love riding in your car, listening to the podcast, but every blue moon you might want to see us on YouTube so you can see our new space, so you can see our new stage. We put a lot of time and effort into it. It's something that's going to be used by our community. We're going to be teaching kids how to use podcast recording and music production technology, and so we're so proud of it. So make sure you go to our YouTube. We want to get as many subscribers as possible, so help us out. Go over there, subscribe. Dearwhiteteacher, thank you so much, and thank you for not only listening but watching. Peace.
It's not gonna take a book. It's gonna take experience.
There's no code switching. I'm gonna give it to you real. I need you to understand this is what our culture deals with. This is what it's like.
Y'all hold y'all colleague accountable. Y'all put the pressure where they know not in our building, you ain't gonna underserve our kids.
They wasn't prepared to teach urban students.
You got third, fourth grade kid walking in. He's walking in the class like, I don't trust this cat. I don't trust this woman.
Now, me being the person that I am, I went to the student.
Yeah.
You need to go to the spaces where they dwell in.
A teacher should have that same mindset.
Right.
Do no harm and promote life.
Go talk to them. Go talk to a kid you don't know every day for a month and tell me you don't feel better about coming to school here.
He was like, that's the first time I've felt seen in a classroom.
You have to recognize who your audience is, who you're teaching. Even that includes the whole family.
We don't just impact for the moment, we impact for eternity.
This is where you get the ins and the outs about the community.
What's up, everybody? Brandon here. Welcome to Dearwhiteteacher. If you've been watching us, you see this space looks a little bit different than what you used to seeing. So I want to welcome everybody into our own space, our own brand new podcast studio and stage. So you'll get to see it if you're watching us on YouTube. You'll get to see we got our own thing now, so it's a pretty cool feeling. This is our first episode in here, and so this episode is also special because you probably always hear me talk about Dreams Academy, and I've never really told you about Dreams Academy or introduced you to the people that run Dreams Academy. And so today's episode, Dreams is our boys, our young men's extension of our programming. And so I got my whole Dream staff here with me today. We're going to talk about mentoring. We're going to talk about just some of the cultural nuances of what young black boys go through. So I want you to dig in, and I'm gonna let my team introduce themselves, starting to my left, my guy, Andre.
Well, hello, Andre Hampton. Been with Dreams for a little while. I can't even think about how many years
I think
now.
it's been about five or six.
I remember I had the opportunity to come as a speaker. My profession is in financial services as a financial advisor, and then I'm also the assistant pastor at the City of Joy Life Enrichment Center. So, excited to get ready to have this conversation, and tell you a little bit more about Dreams Academy and all the things it does.
All right, Daryl.
What's going on? My name Daryl. New addition to the Dreams Academy, program director from Canton, Ohio. Born and raised. I've been working with the youth for about 6 to 5 years now.
6 to 5?
5 to 6. I got you.
Hey, what's up? My name is Courtney Brown. I'm from Akron, east side of Akron, specifically. I grew up in the inner city in the Joy Park area and also in the Goodyear Heights area. And I've been working with Dreams Academy about 2 years now. I'm a program coordinator. I coordinate the program and one of the facilities we do mentoring at. And it's amazing, man. It's amazing to be able to mentor and help kids, man. So I'm just glad to be a part of what Dreams has to provide our community.
Yeah, man. So I'm grateful to have all my brothers here today, just to have a conversation, just to kind of let people into what mentoring really is, what it is that we do at Dreams. Our focal point is young men, ages 10 to 15. Like Courtney said, Courtney works in our in-school programming, so he could see anybody from 4th grade to like 8th grade, depending on where we are. So I'll start off with something that y'all just jump in and we'll just flow with it. But why is mentoring necessary and needed in our community? Everybody don't jump in at the same time. It don't matter. Let's just roll.
Yeah, I'll start that off. So, like, unlike, you know what I'm saying, white people, we don't have those engineers and program, you know, people that worked in them high-level jobs in our family. So we're not seeing that firsthand. So it's very important to have mentor in your life.
Yeah, just to pick up where you left off at. Mentoring is important. Like you said, we don't see it in our everyday life, and it's not that we ain't seeing it. We not taught it. You know, in our community, you know, they look at success limited to a basketball or a football, you know, or a boxing glove. They don't know that you can be a pilot and be successful. You know, how many times have you ever heard a black kid say, "I want to be a pilot"? Yeah. You know, how many of you ever? It's rare, very rare in the hood where we grew up at that you hear them say, "I want to be a police officer." You know, many people think, "Oh, I don't want to be a police officer, they bad." But you know how much it will promote and uplift our community if we have more of us in the police force? Yeah. But guess what? In our community, they looked at it as a negative thing. And this is why we wonder why we go through in the community, you know, because guess what? Caucasians are the mainly ones that's police officers. So what you think we gonna happen? We have, you know, it's no diversity on the force, you know, and we want things to change. Well, change starts with yourself. You know, forget all the myths. Oh, police is bad. If you feel like you can make a community better, why not go be a police officer? Forget what everybody say, man. Because at the end of the day, going to prison and dying is not cool, and that's the things that we think is cool. And to me, that's the number one reason why we need mentors.
Yeah. So you went somewhere way quicker than what I wanted to get there, but it's cool. But you mentioned the pilot, and this gonna tie in. A big reason that I started Dreams Academy was that I just noticed the lack of men in the homes, right? And so I say all the time, most of our kids come from homes where dad is either absent, deceased, or incarcerated. But myself, I came from a two-parent home. My dad was around. My dad was the first pilot I ever met. My dad has a pilot's license and can fly single-engine planes. But that's not everybody's, you know, story. And so, you know, that's a whole piece I think that's lacking. Our men are not, sometimes just not taking care of their responsibilities, which leaves all these young men, which leaves us with the ability to do what we do, you know, seeing some of the things we say. Dre, you look like you was about to jump in.
Yeah. I always like to bring up this word when it comes to dreams, and it's exposure. Like, we're trying to expose the kids to different lifestyles, different career opportunities, different decisions to make. And, you know, to tell a little bit about my story, a little bit similar to Brandon here, being a PK, where, you know, my father.
You got to say what that is.
Okay, yeah, preacher's kid. Yeah, my dad, he's the retired pastor now.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had my father, I had my mother in my life, so I was very fortunate. I believe even when I started with Dreams, at the time, I just had daughters. Now I have a son now. But one of the reasons I got involved with Dreams is I saw there was a void, unfortunately, for a lot of our men helping this next generation. There's a void from incarceration to just, unfortunately, just making bad decisions. And I always like to say, of course, it's not everyone, but there is a void there. And I felt like, based upon what I experienced, it just wouldn't be right for me not to share and help somebody, you know. And I remember always thinking, too, like, that was my chance to kind of have a male influence. Like, I had a son, and, you know, thankfully now I do have my son with me. But at the same time, you see what's missing when you get to talk to the kids. And many times it's just a positive Black role model that's not on television. You know, you know, you mentioned about sports, and there's also entertainment, you know, where they, you know, want to be, you know, they see the only avenues as being in entertainment per se, like a rapper or a singer, and not say anything, you know, negative about those things, but, you know, now we even have kids that say they want to be a YouTuber, you know, they want to be an influencer, and those are awesome career opportunities. But sometimes it's a matter of, let's make sure we still hitting our books, we still doing all the right things there before we just jump off and do all those things, because you need something to have some foundation with.
But nobody made it cool to be an electrician. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
And everybody need an electrician. Everybody need a plumber.
Yes.
You know, that we've been talking about trades a whole lot. And those things just aren't put up in front of us. You know, I don't, y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Is there a social media major guy that's an electrician that's just like, the kid's not going to follow that?
I'm sure it is, but there ain't no black ones. There ain't nobody that they can relate to.
Right.
You know, they ain't going to go look at Mr. Johnny Smith doing electric. I don't know Johnny Smith. He don't even look like me. He ain't listening to the music on his, whatever his show or his podcast that I want to listen to. There's no kind of relation or collaboration there. So, no, they going to look, the other side.
Yeah.
Quick question. Do any of y'all got like a role model that y'all had growing up, like that y'all looked up to or wanted to be like?
It was my father.
Yeah, it was my dad, man. I mean, to this day, my dad, my guy, like, man, I start crying talking about my pops, man. But I went to a private school, right? All black private school from kindergarten to 8th. And we small class sizes, but pretty much I say 95% black. I know if I thought back hard enough, I don't recall ever meeting any of my friends' dad because he wasn't in the house. Like, they knew him, you know, if he was around or nothing like that. But we didn't meet dads. Matter of fact, I got roasted constantly because my dad was always at the school. I'll never forget 3rd grade. I started clowning, man. My dad, he got out the car. Hey, how you do today? You know what I'm saying? So I grew up in that thing, which I hated growing up, but now I appreciate it now. Like, man, my dad was on my nerves. Man, get in the car, man. Why you keep getting out? But he was checking on me, man. And so, man, my dad was it, man. My dad, you know, as far as my music is concerned, he led the way with that, man. He was always present, even though he worked hard. You know, he didn't miss a performance. He didn't miss my brother's basketball games and stuff. So he was just super, super present. And so I think that's a kind of the nuance of or the irony of why I do what I do today, because I know what that feels like to have it.
Sure.
And so while I don't know what it feels like to not have it, you know, I can't replace dad, but with all us working together, man, you can't tell me them kids don't go home, you know, after they see us and say, we learned something, or there's some type of positive impact that I know we make week to week, you know, even if it's not life-changing or even if it's something we don't see immediately, there's something that we gonna say to them. And, you know, with our kids, they ain't really gonna tell us either. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to be something in their mind that stick out that you said, or did. Or, man, just the fact that we show up is a start.
I came up with a theory, and, man, I be coming up with my own theories, man, because, my educational background just got me doing it, especially now that, you know, I'm about to be a black therapist, because it ain't many of those. And, man, I think that's well needed, you know. Yeah. But when I'm talking to kids, you know, a lot of people try to attack the mind and change the way they think. But me personally, because them kids remind me of me, because, you know, I was the kid that was constantly getting suspended, constantly getting expelled, constantly getting bad grades, constantly having problems at home. I was that kid. So a lot of kids that I work with in the schools that I'm at, they are those kids, you know. And, you know, I try to dissect it, you know, because a lot of kids that come up the way that I came up and then the stuff that I was into don't make it out the things that I made it out. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm one of very few.
Facts.
You know, I've been in prison 3 times. You know, I was in trial fight for my life for 17 years. But also I got 4 degrees now, going on my 5th, about to have 2 master's degrees in 2 different tracks. So, you know,
man, we got to, celebrate that, man. That's dope, man.
So when I go into different rooms and I talk, you know, I'm different, you know, so I come up with my own theories of what changed me. How did I want to change? And the one thing I learned that changed me was my heart. So I talk to the kids based on their heart. I talk to them about changing your heart, you know, love and kindness. You know, you're allowed to get mad. They don't see it. They see anger and yell and dysfunction, you know. And so when I talk to the kids, before it even get to their minds, I want your heart to change. Because as long as you got a good heart, somewhere along that line, you'll be over to change. And the first thing I talk about when I have a heart, is loving God, man. You know, once you got that love of God, you know, in 2 Corinthians talk about what love is. People say loyalty over love. How can you love God but you put loyalty over love? God says love is everything. You know, so love starts within the heart. So that's when I talk to the kids about their hearts, man. Let's talk about your heart. You know, was it right or wrong, but why did you do that? Did you want somebody to do that to you?
Right.
You know? Now that's a heart thing. Don't do nothing to nobody that you don't want done to yourself.
Their hearts are so hard, man, and that's why that anger is like they number one go-to emotion, because they don't know nothing else, and they're not even growing up in environments and atmospheres that show love. That's why you go to hug them, they be like, that's gay. And no offense to anybody that is gay or whatever. That's not even the context and what they mean it in. They just, two men can't hug for them. You know what I mean? And like
they saying sus now.
Yeah, sus. Yeah. And I hug on my kids. I hug when they crying, when they angry. I come in, man, give me a hug. You just need some love, bro. Yeah. Like we can be cool, we can kick it, you can be mad, whatever you want to do. But at the end of it, we gonna get this hug in because you need some love.
Yeah. So that's another thing too. Like working with kids, I noticed that a lot of times we scold them like off the bat. Like, we don't even tell them what they should have did, and I feel like that's big. Like even in the classroom, you know what I'm saying? A student just act out or do something crazy, and it's like, correct the behavior. Like we don't correct it. Like we address it, but we don't correct it. It's too big. It's two different things.
Well, so say that again. We don't what?
We don't correct it. We address it.
Yeah, and see, with that, I like what you said there, because it's not getting addressed really, or whichever way you said it. But the second piece of that is we discipline them for it. Instead of sitting down and having a conversation. Like you said, why did you do that? What made you do that? What was you thinking about when you did it?
Man, process.
Like what outcome did you think was about to happen when you did whatever you did? I know I told this story on the podcast before. A teacher friend of mine works at a particular school, and let's just call him, little fella. Let's call him little fella. Little fella's on tape stealing Dr. Pepper out the refrigerator. And man, when they say he did, like to this day, he denies doing it. He's on tape doing it. But then once somebody sat down with him and hollered at him, come to find out, it was his mom's favorite pop, and they didn't have nothing to drink at the crib. So now you talking about shame, you talking about poverty, you talking there was really a need in the house. And so, man, it's all these underlying layers of why our kids do some of the stuff they do that sometimes people don't know how to peel back. And we ain't saying make it right or, that there shouldn't be a discipline behind it. But let's figure out the root cause of why they doing what they doing.
And just to piece off that, like anytime I'm in the classroom and I'm working with kids, number one thing I tell them, don't even lie to me. Just be 100. Yeah. You be 100 with me, I'm going to be 100 with you. I might even let you go. You done did something crazy. I might just let you slide just because you being honest with me. That's my biggest thing. Yeah. Getting them in that idea of just being honest.
Being real, man. No matter what, just be real. And if you do something stupid, I tell them all the time, chin up.
Yeah, for sure.
Chin up. It's going to be okay.
Man, I'm 43 and still have a proclivity to do something stupid.
Yeah, me too. So it's not,
I just might.
It's just about teaching them, man. That's why it goes back to the heart thing, because don't matter what, we smart enough. We're so intellectual, everybody in this circle right here. But like you just said, sometimes we make mistakes, and it's okay. You're going to make bad decisions. Nobody is perfect. So that's when the heart thing come in. Is you going to go steal from somebody that don't got nothing? Is you going to go do something to a baby? Is you going to take a life with no remorse? Is you do have a heart for any kids, children, older people, people that's less fortunate. Once you build that heart, you'll be able to make the right decision based on, that feeling, and it won't be anger,
To jump on that, because oh man, this is so good. Cause we got to get to the root, right?
Yeah.
And why would a kid, you think 8, 9 years old, be so angry? And we see it. We see kids that come in, they're not, really open. Now, thankfully, by the end of the sessions, normally they opened up and they got involved. But sometimes they come in angry. Like, what has happened in your 8-year-old life? And that's where I don't want to belittle it at all. But like, what is it? Then you start hearing things. You start understanding whether they're struggling at school, struggling at home, maybe not having enough food. All those kind of things that we can easily take for granted. But it's all causing. Here's the thing, they're comparing themselves to someone else.
They are, all the time.
That generates so much anger that they don't have that other person's life. And here we're in a culture now where I have to flash my life. I have to show it on Instagram, I have to show it on Snapchat. we did a session one time where it was 8 kids in there. We asked them what's their favorite social media platform. They named 8 different platforms. And I'm sitting here like...
And most of it was stuff we had never even heard of.
And I heard of, right. I'm thinking, okay, of course, Snapchat, Instagram. I'm like, okay. Like, they are on these apps. They see things. They're seeing things way earlier. They're being exposed to things that really they're not even ready to see.
Yeah.
But that anger is a lot of times coming from that comparison. Somebody else's life is better. Somebody else's situation is better. I want mine to be better. And they don't know how to channel that into improving the situation. They just almost grab a hold of the anger and act out on that. And I love what you're saying, man. That heart piece is...
A heart piece, man. That's what it was for me, man.
I remember we actually did a presentation with the kids over sympathy and empathy. Remember that at OLIP? Or is it, how do you pronounce it?
Yeah. Down in Canton?
Yeah. I feel like that was important, just to go over those 3 things. We went over 3, didn't we? Empathy, sympathy, and what
yeah. Empathy, sympathy, and
we did one more.
Was it respect?
I think so.
It might not have been, but I remember.
I know we did touch respect.
Yeah, we did touch that, but I think a piece of it, kind of what you're talking about, is that just to use a loose example, the kid that come in school with his Jordans on, he got on Jordans, which is $200, and little fella got on little buddies or whatever, and he ain't got the, and then that turns into this competition. However, in my mind though, where does that start at? Starts at the crib.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think a lot of times, sometimes we have parents that reward kids for bad behavior. Cause man, you can't live in my crib and wear Jordans and you clowning.
Yeah, I agree to that, man. You know what it is? And I see this even with the women that I deal with, have dealt with in the past, whether it's my sisters, girls that I'll date, anything like that. They want to keep their son looking good, not just for them. I'm sure it's for their sons that go to school and make sure my son looking, but they want to do it for themselves as well. I keep my son dressed. I keep my son, but you can afford it, but some other parents can't. So how do we?
So that's a whole concept that I talk about, man. In some of the courses I teach, the whole man of the house concept. That I've heard parents, especially single mothers, who call their son the man of the house. He like 8. But then that changes when he gets to school. You ain't the man here. You got rules to follow. And so that's why little fella has trouble getting in line. That's why he has trouble with authority, because at home, I'm running stuff. Because guess what? Mom at work. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes she might not even mean nothing by it, by saying you the man of the house. What she's saying is, hey, I'm gone, you in charge. I need you to take care of things. He don't know how to shut that off when he go to school. And so he getting to school, and this podcast is called Dearwhiteteacher, so I'm trying to help white teachers, because at the end of the day, I don't know about y'all, close to all of my teachers from kindergarten to high school, even through college, were white women. And so part of what I'm doing with this is trying to give insight to what's going on at home, so you can understand what you get when you come to school. And so little fella's like, man, I run my house. You can't tell me what to do. But he don't understand. He in a different environment. He don't understand. He don't even know how to. Okay, I'm at school now. I ain't the man of nothing here. I'm in 3rd grade. I got to get in line. When she tell me get in line, I got to raise my hand to talk. I got to ask to go to the bathroom. And so, man, it's blurry, and it clouds kids' mind, and they find themselves in this wrestling match of when do I follow the rules, because I don't know now.
That's major, man. One of my favorite scriptures, man, is a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
So
man.
It's almost we creating
That's confusing. Double-mindedness is confusion, and a confused mind is unstable in all his ways. You can't be confused and be stable and be on the right track. Even if you drive, you confused. You turn around, you looking head over, you turn around the wrong way. You got to pull over to the side, put your hazards on. You're unstable.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. You guys gotta have that kind of core group of friends, and we have kids all around the same age. And one of the things we'd always want to say is let the kids be kids.
Yeah.
Like, let them be kids.
Yes.
Not to say they can do whatever they want to do, but why have them worrying about adult things? Why have them
You know.
But what do you do when it's what do you do when you don't have a choice though? Because let's put the scenario out there. I can't afford daycare, so he 10. Hey,
and you watching 3, 4, 5-year-olds at home.
I mean, but go back to back in the day when we was young, we could stay home by ourselves. Hey, lock the door, don't let no strangers in, don't answer the phone. It was clear cut. But now, but now it's so much stuff to these kids' fingertips. You know what I'm saying? And so, but we can't afford daycare. Daycare's high. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And so, I don't feel like I have any other option. I'm working 1 and 2 jobs. I can't go to parent-teacher conference because I got to figure out, do I take my shift or do I go to parent-teacher conference? So I ain't being funny acting. Man, there's just so many nuances to so much of it, man.
That's a tough one, man.
Yeah.
But why don't, I ain't going to say they don't, but why is it so much on the black community instead of like in the Caucasian? Why the Caucasian community seems like it's so much easier over there? Why you think that is than over here in the hood, you know? When we go to these projects, why isn't there not a lot of Caucasian in these projects? You know, we go to Joy Park, Rosemary, Wilbith, there's predominantly black. Why isn't the Caucasians in these projects? Why is that, you think? And just not in Akron. You go to Cleveland, it's the same way. Go to Morris Black, it's predominantly black. I don't know no projects, that's white projects like, it's predominantly white over here and it's 500 white people over here. I don't know where that's at.
Yeah.
Why is that?
And that answer could go so many ways back to the, you know what I'm saying, depending on what your theory or belief system is, back to the 80s, back to the war on drugs, back to when the welfare system started. Right, but man, it is so much.
Why is it still, that door still, we go look right now, man. We gonna look. These 16 and 17-year-old girls that might graduate high school, that might not. Guess what? Then the ones that's getting the black, that's about to be in these Edgewoods and these Joy Parks, but then we go to the white people in town, which they ain't coming to Edgewood. Why is that? They 16 and 17 too. Life ain't even started for them. So where does that start at?
I don't know where it started at.
It comes back to that exposure too.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Sometimes
Being exposed to a lot early on.
Environment. Yeah. You see, like, if only what you see is what you see, that's what you think is going to be for you. And you don't see, home ownership. You see an apartment.
So that's what I mean.
Your thought is, I want to have the best apartment.
And that's what I mean. That's what I mean when I say I don't know where it starts at, because we see other cultures groom their kids to not have to do that. You know what I'm saying? They some of them are living on great grandma and granddad's wealth and fortunes, where they passing down businesses, where they passing down how to budget, how to live, how to have money and not spend money because you want to look like you got money. You know what I'm saying? They say Bill Gates drive is it Bill Gates? No, it's not Gates. Warren Buffett drive a old 03 Cadillac.
Yeah.
Listen, I want a 23 Escalade right now. I don't know if that's cars or I just like cars. But you know what I'm saying? For us, and that's a whole financial conversation we can have. We are built to show what we have or prove what we have.
White people start to stack the cash. What you have, them shoes.
Like,
come on, man.
I don't want to show that I have a whole lot.
Yeah.
But I can have a whole lot and be fine. So a lot of that comes from it's more of an internal security that I don't have to show everything to make myself. And man, I feel you on the cars. And I feel like I had to go through it. Having some nice cars. Now, I'm telling you, unless somebody gave me one, I don't need a nice luxury car no more.
Hey, I ain't got over it yet, so you on your own with that one.
Me neither. I ain't got over it. No,
I don't plan on getting over that one.
As long as you can do it, that's fine. It's like, but I know there were some times in my life, driving an Escalade, I could do it, but should I have done it? Could I have took half that payment and been putting that in a Roth IRA?
I mean, you got to do that before you get that car. Before you get in that car that you want, I hope you contributed at least 15% to your Roth IRA. I hope you are. Now, if you're not, that's a bad decision.
I think it's a different conversation. Not whether or not you can afford to do it, but are you being smart by doing it? So you can do it, but I got enough to put over here to make sure my Roth is cool, to make sure my retirement is cool. Where this is just,
that's
you know what I'm saying? Like,
story.
I'm a car and seafood guy. I'm gonna eat good and I need to ride good. But past that,
It's almost you gotta find that's budgeting too. You gotta find the areas where this ain't as important to me. So somebody might look at this area of my budget and think I'm overdoing it. Yeah, but you don't see where I'm saving over here. Right. Or I don't have 15 different streaming apps or something. Because somebody that like to read or do something, they're not on all these different platforms, all these different things. So
this direct into the kids though. So we not teaching kids budgeting and financial literacy and things like that, but they want to wear Jordans, they want to drive the Escalade.
Dreams is teaching that.
Yeah, we are. Dreams is teaching that.
In my opinion, I feel like they don't need to learn that until they get their behaviors together. Because there's no point in learning about money if you're gonna go out there and kill somebody. If you're going your anger, you can't even focus on 1, 2s, and 3s. Don't matter if your mental health ain't together.
It all balance.
It do balance. You gotta have that balance.
Yeah.
About rewarding bad behaviors. Like there's times where you can see a child. And by the way they're acting, you're like, how are you wearing Jordans and all these kind of things? Like, because the way you're acting, how are you being rewarded? And then peep this out. This is the other thing that blew me away. And then when we discipline kids, we'll discipline with them. Go read. Wow. So education becomes a punishment.
Education becomes a punishment, man. That's deep.
That's true right there.
Talk, man. Go do your homework. Because you've been messing around and doing something. What?
Should have been doing homework in the first place.
It's not a punishment. It's not a punishment. Then you're generating a negative outlook to homework and doing.
So that goes. So somebody asked me the other day, why do black boys hate school? You just answered it for them.
They don't like to learn.
They don't like. Well, but if learning is shown as a punishment,
that's why. That's why they don't like to learn.
That's crazy.
And it can happen so quick, so easy. And it's ingrained. It becomes ingrained.
Even if it's not punishment,
it's over with.
Like think about the way we hear mothers say, "Go do your homework."
Yeah.
It's not even said with like, "Hey, would you mind go doing your homework?" Like I don't know what
this is helpful.
That's why I try talking to my daughter. She tell me she's 5 years old. She tell me every day, "Daddy, I hate school. I don't want to go to school." So I try to talk to her. Well, you need school. Don't you want to? What do you want to be when you grow up? I want you to have a dream. At 5, she want to be a doctor. I said, well, guess what? You can't be a doctor if you don't go to school. It is no way possible. And, and she said, well, okay. But at that age, they don't like school that early. Yeah. So what is it at that age that we're teaching them? School is not the best thing. Is it the experience that they get when they get in school is boring or, do they not understand the concept? I mean, what is it? Because she's 5.
It's so many other things they could do that's so much more fun. Like there's never been an age or time period where there's so much fun and it's at their fingertips.
At their fingertips.
Right, at their fingertips. They can watch TV with no commercials. Yes. They can watch TV whenever they want to. They can stream something. They can do this. Mm-hmm. They don't even there's no like we used to have to watch a show one day and then wait a week
for it to come on
see
again.
That show again. And there's something to that. Like there's something to that versus I can just watch this whole thing and then they'll watch it over again.
And watch, I know folks when the show coming on, they gonna say, I'm gonna wait till all 8 is done, so I can take a day and binge through the whole thing because I don't want to wait.
Man,
so is that a lesson in patience or on demand?
Man,
hey, that's important right there. Patience. We had this one kid just jumping off the walls, man. As soon as I got in the classroom, I'm like, I already see how this is about to go. But then I'm in there, I'm like, I see my nephew and him, like, nephew, hi. A lot of energy just always bouncing off the walls. So that whole class, I'm waiting on him to just sit still. I'm like, look, do your work, sit still. I'm going to let you sit by your friends and everything. It was a struggle just for him to sit still for 5 minutes.
Yeah, they can't
He's like, can I move now?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, just be patient. Had him sit there for like 20 minutes toward the end of class. Let him rock out, sit by his friends. He's like, thank you so much. And I just know that teachers is just tired. I know, like, you know what I'm saying? Dealing with that every day. I know right off the bat, they like, oh yeah, get out. You know what I mean? Like, have no type of patience for it, which is kind of like, okay, I see, but it's like that should be addressed at home. Behavior has to be addressed at home. And I know that plays a big issue in the school.
The teachers do need to have an increased level of patience. But then they got 30
But it's
years.
hard. I was a teacher. I was a teacher. That's so hard. So listen, let me break this down to you. So I was a third grade teacher. I was a third grade teacher at Emmanuel. So we got kids that are at different levels, So so if you got one kid that can read and another kid that can't read, and y'all reading the story together, but this kid can't keep up, but this kid can, and you got everybody else that's falling somewhere in the middle, you creating confusion in the classroom again, because this kid that can't read not following along, he ain't gonna know nothing. He don't know nothing. So then you got to stop, try to get him focused. Did you read this and that, this and that? You get him the papers. It's just so much. 30 kids, 30 different levels of learning, 30 different attitudes and behaviors. It is difficult being a teacher, and that's what was with me. And I relate to a lot of kids. Now imagine when you got these white teachers. Plug for the podcast, but
thank you, sir.
Anyway, imagine if you got these white kids with 30 black kids in the class. What can you
So that's where I wanted to get to. We can relate to them. I've been in the classroom. You've been in the classroom. You've been in the classroom. Dre, you've been in the classroom with us. Yeah. And so if we're because the foundation of the podcast for me is definitely never bashing white teachers, but to also address that there's a cultural gap. So the whole time we've been talking about our kids, because we know our kids, because we all look like our kids, because representation is a whole nother conversation in the classroom. But since we know they have to go to school, 9 times out of 10 they're going to see a white teacher. For me, in doing this, one of the things that I found and know is colleges are not talking to teachers about what to do with a classroom full of black kids. Most of them. I've talked to some that say they, have taken some courses in there or had some conversations about it, but, far and wide, nobody's saying, hey. So I give this example. Take a teacher from Hudson that lives in Hudson, grew up in Hudson. So for my watchers, Hudson is a well-to-do suburb of Akron. But I come into Akron Public Schools, or I come into any urban environment where this is unfamiliar to me. So I don't understand why little Johnny won't sit down, or why he bouncing off the wall, or why even, let's take it a deeper level, why y'all hungry when y'all first get here? Because if I live in Hudson, I probably ate breakfast. They might not have. And so I don't want to learn. I'm hungry. Can I have a sandwich? Can I have a cookie? Can I have some candy? No, you can't have candy at 8:30 a.m. So you add all that kind of stuff in, and man, you just get confusion.
They got well rested too. Living out there, they ain't heard no sirens. They didn't sleep good.
Gunshots, gunshots. People fight, man. You stand in these Rosemary projects and stuff. You know how many fights happen in them projects on every other day, shooting in the middle of the night. Kids looking out the window. What's that? They arguing out there. You got crackheads. This is area this is happening in. We got crackheads, drugs being sold at 12 o'clock in the morning, gunshots going off, people pulling out, arguing. You go to Hudson, it's none of that. It's silent. It's quiet. You can hear the birds chirping at night. So I mean, what do you expect when you got kids like this growing up like this?
Yeah.
And nobody cares about them.
Now I'll give my little. I grew up early in Akron, but then we moved to Norton, which is a suburb of Akron. It's not quite Hudson. It's not Hudson.
It's close though. It's not bad.
It's definitely predominantly Caucasian. And I grew up. I went from, I did a little private school, then I going into public school was one transition, but then also going from a diverse school to a predominantly white school. And so.
And now not only are you talking white students, but you're talking about probably all white teachers too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm trying to think real quick, but I don't think I had a black teacher at Norton at all. Goodness. It's going way back. Yeah. Like I celebrated 30-year high school reunion. Oh, yeah, you are back. But it was different back then. I think we couldn't even, because we don't want to make it sound like it's an excuse.
Right.
But you have to address it to be able to work with it and to work either around it or through it, however. But what I saw is where we might deal in the inner city, and they call it now food insecurity. Mm-hmm. Dealing with hunger issues or dealing with trouble in the home. You can still have that in Caucasian areas. It's just different. It's something different. Where they could be drugs that aren't the type of drugs that's in the black community. It's all different struggles, but it helps to have someone who's willing to just listen.
Yeah.
And kind of get an understanding, because most of the time the student's going to already imagine in their mind this teacher don't really care about what I went through last night or what I went through this week. They just want these grades. They just want this. They don't really care about me. And like I said, I think one of the most undervalued professions is teachers. Just undervalued,
underpaid.
I mean, and it's overworked.
Yeah,
overworked, underpaid, man. Yes.
So, man, teachers are raising kids.
Yes.
More than the parents are.
Yeah.
At least at 8 hours a day. You can't tell me parents is raising their kids 8 hours a day.
Because they're supposed to be sleep 8 hours, so that only leaves 8 more.
Yeah, and the parents got to work. So, you know, the kids.
Them sleeping hours don't really count for nothing.
That's another thing, too, behavior.
Put your mic up there.
Behavior. Like, in the classroom, you try to address a behavior, the parent will get mad at you for doing it. Like, it's crazy now. Like, it ain't no community, helping raising kids now. It's you can't even address
the village
nothing.
is left.
Yeah, it's over with.
But so I'll give you another point that go back to a guest I had on named Dr. Ross, and she brought up something called parent trauma that I never thought about. Well, I didn't know to think about it, where parents are like that with their kids because they had horrible experiences at school. I was like, that blew me away. Like I had like parent trauma. Like I sent my kid. Because I never made it out the hood, my kid is going to the same school I went to and might have the same teachers I had when I was here, and we ain't get along. So guess what? We still don't get along. You just got my kid now.
Hopefully not the same books and everything.
Hopefully not.
I'm sure some of these schools, they got this. They don't even got books in some of these schools, So
that's right. That was everything on the tablet or something. But I want to jump on something real quick because it was back when we were talking about the mentorship piece, and you even asked about role models. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. I was fortunate also to have role models who were mentors that I didn't even know was a mentor at the time, especially at my church. Mm-hmm. And if I get to naming names, I'm going to forget somebody. But just off the top, like Rodney Griggs, Michael Brooks, these were people that were only probably 8-10 years older than me. But that's you back, when you're 10 years old and they're 18-20 years old. And then as you keep growing, they're the ones that's just talking to you about little things, whether it's about relationships or just encouraging you. Like you mentioned the village, I maybe going to come back to it. That's one of the big parts about why mentorship is so important. Yeah. You need more voices. You need more positive voices. And when you look back over your life, you can go back and normally find, how did I go a certain direction? What were the voices you were hearing? What were you? Who was influencing you?
Who was in your ear
in those times when your decisions weren't the best?
Yeah.
When I take it back, when I look at a kid, I had some very decent role models, but also had some very undecent. I don't know what to call them. What's the opposite of role models? Undecent models. So I'm 12 years old, right? So I had, I was real good in football, playing Pee Wee football. I had them coaches, my uncles and, different people at the, different community members, come to my games, just look out, talk to me about school, ask me about my grades. I had some good role models, but I also on the other hand, some really undecent models, as I just said. And, when I was, playing football, I could be playing football Monday through Friday going to school, but on Saturday I'm going to Joy Park and I'm hooping outside, right? And I'm hooping with all my friends, and then this guy that, he was real good in basketball. I know, like, dang, why he ain't never go to the NBA? I don't know why or nothing. I'm just thinking, like, this dude can dunk. He crossed me between it, and after, one day after the park, he come up to me, and he grabbed me, and he give me a hug, and we walking, and he tell me, he said, only thing you missing is some money, and he gave me some drugs, and he gave me a gun. So what does that do to a just not my mind, but another kid may be going through that thing. What does that go to his mind, So I'm like, where does it, how do you fight off the angel and the devil? You got the angel over here, you got the devil over here, and then life tell you need money. Everybody, the good people telling you will need to get some money. Well, guess what? The devil saying I need to get some money too. Yeah. But this money is right here. The money you talking about is going to take forever, So as a kid, how do you go through all them type of, things that you deal with? These are the type of things I dealt with.
They not even mentally capable And so, again, point of this podcast is I'm trying to show teachers this the stuff that's going on in our community that these kids are coming to school with.
So any of my teachers that's watching, this is why you had trouble with me. In case you didn't know, when I was in elementary and all y'all my teachers, you know, y'all always told me I was intelligent, but I had behavior problems. I didn't listen. I couldn't sit down. I was doing this. I was bad. I was angry. This is why. I'm letting you know what I went through. And it's the same kids y'all teaching right now, man. It's going through the same things, and it's worse.
I honestly can't think of a role model that I had in my life growing up.
Wow.
Like, it wasn't until I got to high school when I actually seen, like, my principal was black. Like those, you know what I'm saying, higher ups, they was.
Who's your principal?
Mr. Grubbs, Corey Grubbs.
Corey Grubbs, my guy.
Yeah, good
I gotta
dude,
send you this clip.
For sure.
Corey was my. You ain't know Corey? Corey was my. So me and Dre both went to Mount Union. I'm gonna get back to Daryl real quick. Corey was my academic advisor in 1998 at Mount.
That's where I know the name from.
Yeah, I don't know if he was there before that year, but he was there, and then he left Mount and probably went.
Yeah,
he went to McKinley.
Yeah, became the principal. Yeah, but that was honestly them was the only people that I really had in my life to look up to. Honestly, other than my uncle, you know what I'm saying. He always did the right thing, but a lot of times I had people in my family where, like he was saying, they doing the wrong things, but I see the good coming from you, you know? Yeah. Giving you some money. I'm thinking he doing something well. He doing it the wrong way, though. But that's what I'm looking up to. I just see the money in the cars and all the things that he got, the new clothes.
Like you said, you had the uncle with a positive message. And you had so you were already hearing more negative voices but positive. But think about that.
But he wasn't hearing no voice until he got to, what you say, high school?
Like high school, middle school.
Yeah.
If you're in a situation where you talk about the devil on one side, if you have a situation where you have 5 people in your life who speak positive all the time, but if you have 5 people who speak negative, those 5 people that speaking positive have no shot.
No shot. It's a math thing.
It's not
5 minus 5 is 0.
Yeah, it's not even. It takes like 4 to 1.
Yeah.
So now you play sports though, right?
Yeah.
So you have
I
some
play
coaches
sports.
though.
Yeah.
Now they might not have been role models, but they were somebody that could
teachers. Yeah, definitely
teach
life coaches.
Structure,
for
those
sure.
kind of things.
Yeah.
So and now, I'm gonna get off on the tangent here, but we're seeing less students or kids aren't the same way with athletics.
No.
You know another thing.
It's a one-track mind to get to the league.
Yeah.
Like this is just a launching pad. It is. I don't think it's any longer a whole lot of the let me take you up under my wing and teach you how to be a man as well as playing the game well. This is my way out the hood.
Yeah.
If you show any level of promise in sports, all of a sudden you're gonna get some negative attention. It looks like positive attention because it may be somebody that want to help you with an AAU team or something like that. But many times they're not pushing you to be better anymore. It's almost like you've arrived and you're 13 years old. Like just
you're a celebrity.
You're good,
Yeah.
okay, but to be great, you got to keep working.
And all
You
these
gotta keep
athletes
pushing. Your fundamentals got to be sound.
Sure.
But they're always thinking about what high school I'm gonna go to. If I don't like this high school, I'm gonna transfer go to another high school. If I don't like that high school, I'm gonna transfer go. So they'll never learn that.
And then let's take it a step deeper now. NIL.
Yeah, that too, you know.
You add the NIL now, man. So, man, I know Cat. Well, I don't know him personally, but 18 with 6-figure deals.
Off of a ball. So guess what? Our babies, that's all they thinking about.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't mind them thinking about that, but they need to know that you got to have grades to get there. So if that's going to make you get good grades, then pursue with all your passion. Because I tell kids all the time, they still say, what you want to be doing? I want to be in the NBA. I want to be in the NFL. I say, do you? Well, I can't tell because guess what? These grades say you don't want to do that. Or this teacher say you don't want to do that. Do you know how to get to the NFL, NBA? You got to go to school. Yeah. And that's what I tell them. So if that's their dreams, I'm not mad about that. Sure. Keep that because guess what? That's going to get you, hopefully it gets you to focus a little better in the classroom, to focus a little better on your grades and not be out here in these streets all day, you know, like that. So
but I think we also got to make sure we balance that with the reality of, hey, it's only like 400-something cats in the NBA. Yeah. I don't know what it is in the NFL numbers, but
small. Even if you think you get a college scholarship, you'll still, even with a college scholarship, your chances of still making it to the league.
Yeah, but who cares about that? You get the degree. They don't know that as kids, but that sometimes you got to manipulate the mind to get what you want out of these kids. Because if they see that, That's fine, as long as it's gonna get them to get the good grades. Because at the end of the day, you know, at the end of that tunnel, even if they don't make it to the NBA, it's a 4-year degree.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and now you got that 4-year degree because you wanted to shoot for sports, and now we can see more pilots, we can see more doctors, we can see more lawyers, we can see more teachers, more counselors. Because I'm in the Masters of Counseling at Akron U, and I'm the only black person in that class. No, it's another black lady. But in all of my classes I done took 60 worth of credits, there has not been no other black men in my classrooms but me.
Speaking of that, my major was biomedical science.
None. I done took 60 credits for the last 3 years. I haven't had one black man in the class but me.
Wow.
So when I go graduate at the end of this year, I'm gonna be the only black man that's graduating out of what, 230 people in the counseling classes.
Wow. Congratulations again.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know, so
It's
that
necessary.
it's, man, it make me want to cry, bro. Cause like, what's really going on?
Yeah.
What's going on?
But I think that's why we do what we do.
why we
Everything
do what
we're
we
talking
do.
about points back to why we
do
get
it.
involved with dreams and why we have some passion about it. Like I said, I remember first time getting the call, and I came to do financial literacy.
Man, that was our very first. That was that. I still got the picture of that.
Yeah, that's going back. Oh, that's going back. 2015,
16.
Okay.
In my grandma's storefront church, man. I still got the picture of that. Pictures
In
of
the
that.
church.
Yep.
And you know, this is when you had the ties on. They was learning how to tie.
Man,
ties.
the room was this size.
Yeah.
The room was this size, man. We had 11, 12 kids in a room this size. That was my grandma's church, and we flipped it into, man, we flipped that room into a theater, a gym, a cafeteria, whatever we needed it to be when we first started. And we had 12 kids in there, and Dre came. He was working at the bank, I think, to talk about money with him.
Yep. And I just remember after that experience, I just had to tell him, like, man, if you ever need me for anything, man, let me know. Because it was, one, I saw the need. And here, just from just trying to get them to calm down for 30 minutes, you know, calm down and hear this. You got to entertain enough to keep the attention, and you got to be so
strategic.
Strategic, that's the word, with how you can get them involved and keep their attention, because their attention spans are just, you can't hold it. I saw the void just from even like learning how to tie a tie. And I thought, how did I learn how to tie a tie?
Man,
my dad taught me.
Yeah.
And it's something that's so basic, but then you begin to apply that to other things. There's things I've told my wife, I said, there's certain things I do that I saw my dad do.
Yeah.
My dad got my mom flowers. My dad did this. My dad.
Yeah.
So those are things that were taught to me without a lesson. It was just, I saw it.
So you
That's what I'm supposed to do.
You talking about tying a tie. Let's talk about even knowing where to wear a tie to. So it's foreign to them.
It's foreign. They don't even know where to tie to wear a tie to.
No, because nowadays nobody dresses up for funerals no more. Nobody dresses up for church anymore. Nobody dresses up for weddings anymore. Everything has become so lax. When we trying to teach them, hey, do you know how amazing you look as a black man to walk out the door with a tie on, with a jacket that fit, with some, nicely buff shoes? Like, they think it's weird to get a manicure.
We just went to East School. Remember the lady told us that one of the kids dressed up in a tie.
He was sitting right in front of us.
All the other kids was
They said they roasted him that day.
Yeah.
Little dude had on a bow tie. He was clean. Pea coat. He was cleaning everybody. And they had to, matter of fact, they had to, and I appreciated it, but it was sad they had to do it this way. They had to affirm him publicly for doing that, because, and that was at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It was 2:00 by that point. So guess how much probably crap he took all day long from the time he walked in school, dressed fresh. Because I think they was they seniors? I can't remember. Either way,
grade levels, like 10th grade.
Okay. He got all that flack, and they had to say, "Hey, man, dust that off. We appreciate you coming to school like that. That was a bold move for you. We know you had to hear about it. You had to catch all the flack. But for real, he got bullied."
And honestly, we didn't even know that until I believe you addressed it. Like, hey, this how I wish I would have came like that.
Right.
And then that's when the teacher afterwards was like, Yeah, he actually got a lot of. So I'm glad that you addressed that and said something about
Yeah,
that. So
I told him how nice he looked. I said, man, you clean today.
Yeah,
and that's when she was like, you know, we want to thank him for doing that or whatever. Man, he had on a bow tie. He was clean. He was killing.
He was for sure.
Yeah,
he can't correct.
Like even with if you're the smartest one in the class, that's not a good thing anymore. Nope. It's like it's
cool to be done.
You know, yeah, it's cool to be. Oh man,
that's why usually the class clown is usually very intelligent, but he want to be cool, so he be the class clown.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I got a 5th grader that's a class clown, and he a class clown because he can't read.
Wow,
that's a lot of.
I brought him in, so the teacher would just come. They come get me when they have. I'm at my internship. When they have problems with students real bad, they come get me. And when he came in, I grabbed him. I sat down. We talking. They gave me his work. We sat down doing his work. He got to the first. It was math. The first one was math. He had to math. I think it was like 222 plus 137. I never forget it. And he couldn't do it. And I said, well, that's the problem. He's drawing on his paper and this and that. I'm like, come on, I'm gonna help you. Like, come on, you see that 7 plus 2? He like, I said, well, there it is. You calling on him to come up here to do something to the assignment. I'm about to act out because I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm about to get up there and embarrass myself and everybody be laughing at me and doing this and all that. So I'm like thinking to myself, so I said, all right, we're gonna figure this out. So then I got him a piece of paper, not a piece of paper, but I got the other booklet and it was to read. And he couldn't read. And I'm like, well, he can't even spell the word can't. That was the first word. I'm trying to sound it out. You know, come to find out he's in 5th grade with a 1st grade reading level. What is he supposed to do? Wow. You keep pushing him on.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, he ain't got the 2nd grade words in math down yet. So what is he supposed to do? Next year, you're going to be in 6th grade at a 2nd grade reading and math level. What is he supposed to do besides act up? Yeah. On top of he might be hungry. On top, he ain't getting no sleep at night. Mm-hmm. You know? What is he supposed to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm working at the middle school. We got some kids that's been held back 2 times this year. They way older than the kids that's there.
Yeah, like what is
been there for some years.
What is they supposed to do, man? What
honestly, that drove me. Like I got held back in the 1st grade, and that embarrassment going to school, seeing all my friends in the next classroom. I go in the next classroom with them. They was like, you ain't in here.
Wow.
Took me back to the class. I'm like, whoa. So that first month, I'm doing everything, trying to get back, thinking that if I do good now, they gonna put me in the next grade. Man. I'm like, so am I going to the next grade now? They like, no, that's not how this works. And ever since then, though, that lit a fire.
So
I
ain't never thought about this in life until you just said this, about the trauma that causes a kid. Not because he have to repeat a grade, but just what you just said. All my friends got moved forward, and I didn't get to go in the room with them.
They asked me, where you
at?
And so
nobody even had a conversation with you to say, to try and make you understand on the level that you could, hey, you can't go with them this time. You got to go back here. For that, like, I don't even know what that conversation sounds like, but that just sounds like a traumatic experience for me. All my, like, we go all summer. I ain't saying this, I don't know if this has happened or not, but we leave school in June, go all summer. Hey, y'all, we can't wait to get back to school. First day of school, you done laid your clothes out. You know how we do.
Man.
And then when you get there, they like, oh, no, you ain't in there. You in here.
For real.
And you don't even know or understand why. Wow. You ain't even think about last school year.
For real.
You know?
That's wild.
Kids like this is going through things like this every day, man. Every single day.
Yep.
You know, and it's a wonder why there's so much violence in our neighborhoods. You know, they don't have no other skills. They can't read, they can't write, they have no work skills, no job skills, no etiquette skills. They have no skills at all. Yeah. You know, the easiest skill to learn is to pick up a gun and go shoot it. That's the easy skill, you know?
Yeah.
And then to go sell drugs. Get you some drugs and go sell them. They sell themselves. That's easy. That's all these kids can do. So guess what's going to happen when they get older? That's the same thing they're going to do. They're going to drop out of school. When this kid right now go to 6th grade and he still can't read at 6th grade level, by the time you get to 8th and 9th grade, he's going to be done with school. Yeah. You know, he can't do this work. I can't write a paper. I can't do that. What am I coming for? I'm getting F's. I can't do nothing. So what am I even here for if I don't even know what I'm doing? It's like going to a job, trying to be an electrician, and you ain't never been to electrician school. Yeah. The same thing. You go down, you got a math test in front of you, you don't know multiplication. What you gonna do? I'm gonna act up, they gonna kick me out, eventually I'm gonna stop coming. And the only way I can survive now is go get me a gun, let's start robbing someone, let's go sell these drugs.
Yeah. So, man, I wanted to do this because I believe that it's going to give our audience, which is filled with white teachers, insight to things that they might hear about through conversations with other teachers, but like stuff that we see like all the time with our kids. And it's not just hearsay, but like we actually see it, and we see the stories and hear the stories. And so I want to go around and start with Dre and just whatever, because this the thing, so y'all know too, none of this is to bash our community, our parents, our kids, but it's to focus on the realities of things, but also give white teachers hopefully the ability to have some empathy and say, hey, maybe I need to learn more about my kids so that I can excel and support them better and teach them better, so they create success for the teacher and the students. So, let's end up with just a word of encouragement or advice that you would give a teacher that for real is frustrated because she or he just don't know.
The first thing I would say is, one, to commend all the teachers that just decide to do it. Like, it's like, just give you a hand. But the big thing I would say is that patience. It's like they have can it be like one more second of patience, 2 more seconds of patience, just with some of these kids that just need a little bit more time. And I know it's tough because teachers are being graded as well based on how the kids are performing and things. My son, he's in Akron Public Schools, and they're sending home, it's not just about grades, it's about your attendance. Attendance is huge, to the minute, now with tardy reports, absent reports. And if you don't have a certain percentage of days or have too much tardy time, you're done for that year. You're having to go back and repeat it. So my big thing is just that a little bit more patience with these kids. And then even if it means going to your principal, say you need more time or whatever it is, it's going that extra step. Because these kids, one, they're worth it. Sometimes their behavior. We talk about that too. Like when you have them frustrating times with kids, man, they are worth it though.
Yeah,
they're worth every one of their lives is worth even that little bit of frustration, even that time. And but like I said, commend you. We spend time with the kids, or like 2 hours, a week. Mm-hmm. You're spending that time, all that in 8 hours in a classroom day. So
they doing 50, 60 hours a week these days.
But that's what I would say. Just a little more patience. Kids are worth it.
Yeah, Daryl.
Mine would be praise and reward the little things that these kids do in the classroom, whether it be them raising their hand before, speaking out of turn. Like, give them, like, great, praise that, appreciate that. Tell them, thank you, I appreciate you for raising your hand this time and not speaking out of turn. Just those little things may go a long way within the classroom. So praise and reward those little things, them little wins.
My advice would be, and this is what I do. I don't know how it's going to work for a white teacher, but, I'm advocating for you to try it. Show them a little bit more love. Give them a hug. Sometimes give them a handshake. In our culture, a handshake means love, Mm-hmm. Give them a handshake and, tell them it's going to be okay. Tell them when you tell them good job and when you praising them, just don't praise them with your words. Give them a hug. They ain't had no real love. These babies ain't getting loved on, So just give them a little bit of love, a hug, a handshake, Tell them that they're amazing, just show some genuine love, man. And you'll start to see a difference, man. God said love is everything, man. Don't never forget that. So you show them a little bit of love, I guarantee you'll see a little bit change. May not be much, but we just need 1% a day. Yeah. And we're going to get farther. We're going to get way farther than we are today.
Yeah. Cool, man. I appreciate y'all doing this, man. This was fun. We're going to do the same thing with the girls, with the Queens Academy girls here soon, too, so they get to see everybody. And so another episode down. Shout out to my man Gabe behind the camera, making it all happen. And so, hit us up, Instagram, Dear_White, Dear_white. You know what? Gabe is gonna put it on the screen, so I don't get it wrong. I know what it is. Don't play me like that. I know what it is, but it'll be on the screen and everywhere else. I hope y'all like the new studio and the new setup and everything. And so until next time, Dear White Teacher, this is Brandon Scarborough. See you later. Peace.